Good morning, everybody. It's DJ. I have a class today that is a safety training, and it's stuff that we've gone over, but it's important for kind of the foreseeable future um, about COVID and what we all should be doing to make sure that each other is safe and healthy and happy, you know, as much as we can be. You know, it's been a difficult time for a lot of people, but we need to be prudent or just responsible with ourselves when it comes to this. So, this is something that was sent to me, and so, like I said, it's kind of a safety training, but we've already kind of gone over it. There were a lot of pages that I printed out, but I will go over them not too quickly, hopefully, but I think most of us know what we should be doing. But it has a lot more to do with the holidays and celebrations that people are having, and what to do to still have a fun, safe holiday, but at the same time, be safe. So let's get started. So uh, so this goes over attending an event or gathering, coping with holiday stress, hosting gatherings during COVID-19. More than 1 million COVID-19 cases were reported in the United States over the last 7 days. And I got this maybe 2 days ago. Today's the 10th. And so, it's been, COVID's obviously something that we really need to take seriously. As cases continue to increase across the United States, the safest way to celebrate holidays is to celebrate at home with the people you live with. Gatherings with family and friends who do not live with you can increase the chances of spreading COVID-19 or the flu as well, which we also need to remember it's flu season. The pandemic has been stressful and isolating for many people, which I think we all kind of understand. I talked to some of you, and you kind of let me know that you're bored, and there's so many things that we used to do that we can't do, and to get back to that would be wonderful, so that we don't feel this way. But it's important right now to, I wouldn't say isolate yourself, but stay at home. Gatherings during the upcoming holiday can be an opportunity. Pardon me. Can be an opportunity to reconnect with family and friends. The holiday season, consider how your holiday plans can be modified to reduce the spread of COVID-19 to keep your friends, families, and communities healthy and safe. So the CDC offers a few guidelines as to how to do this best, and we'll go over those real fast. But again, thoroughly, but we can still go over them fast because most of you have been doing a fantastic job from what you've told me. I'm really impressed. So celebrating virtually, like Zoom and things like that, or with family members of your own household who are taking measures to reduce the spread of COVID-19, poses the lowest risk for spread. And that's what we really want to reduce, is just the spread of it. That we don't want it to get any further than it already is. And celebrating with those that you know that you're okay, that's the best way to do it. Your household is anyone who currently lives and shares common spaces in your housing, such as a house or apartment. This can include family members as well as roommates or people who are unrelated to you. People who do not currently live in your housing unit, such as colleges who are such as college students, I apologize, who are returning home from school for the holidays should be considered part of different households. So again, if somebody doesn't live with you, we should really consider them part of a different household, and that they should really remain in the household for the holidays that they were living in order to keep everybody safe. Several factors can contribute to the risk of getting and spreading COVID-19 at small in-person gatherings. In combination, these factors will create various amounts of risk. Community levels of COVID-19. Higher increasing levels of COVID-19 cases in the gathering location, as well as in the areas where attendees are coming from, increase the risk of infection and spread among attendees. Family and friends should consider the number of COVID-19 cases in their community and in the community where they plan to celebrate when deciding whether to host or attend a gathering. There's more information that can be done. So basically, we need to make sure that when people come up, we want everyone to come over. We do, and we want to hug, and we want to be part of a community. But at the same time, we have to really consider: are we helping at this time? Because it's a different time in history than it has been ever before. Or should we not? And the answer is, unfortunately, it's best to not. And we will get back to good Christmas, not Christmases, but holidays, including Christmas and a lot of the other holidays that have gone over before. Exposure during travel, airports, bus stations, train stations, public transport, gas stations, and rest stops are all places travelers can be exposed to the virus in the air and on surfaces. And a lot of rest stops have been shut down because of this, and there probably even more will be. But it's just to reduce the travel so that the spread stops. Location of the gathering, indoor gatherings, especially those with poor ventilation. For example, small enclosed spaces with no outside air pose more of a risk than outdoor gatherings. So being outside is safer than being inside. And then the number and crowding of people at the gathering. Gathering with more people pose more risk than gathering with fewer people. So the bigger the place that you're in, the more of a chance that you'll have of possibly, coming in contact with the virus and having it. And that, and also you might be a spreader as well of the virus. And so the less people we have contact with, or that we know that we've been safe with, the better it is to make that holiday occasion happier with those people, with the people that you can really trust and know that they haven't been going out, or they go out for basic essential needs. Because we all need groceries and things like that. Behaviors of attendees prior of people going to a gathering. Individuals who do not consistently adhere to social distancing, staying at least 6 feet apart, mask wearing, hand washing, and other prevention. I apologize. Those behaviors pose a lot more of a risk to spreading the virus. And then, of course, that's before. So, and then behaviors of people that attend a gathering. Gathering with more safety measures in place, such as mask wearing, social distancing, and hand washing, pose a much less risk that gatherings where fewer or no preventive measures are being implemented. Use of alcohol or drugs may alter judgment and make it more difficult to practice COVID-19 safety measures. So it becomes difficult because people want to enjoy the holidays the way they always have, and people celebrate in many different ways. But when we get too comfortable sometimes, then what happens is people get too close. And people have lost family members that have attended gatherings. And I don't want any of you to be part of that group. I want all of you to be safe. So just be careful, basically, especially if you're going to have a party or a gathering, as they're calling it. The following people should not attend in-person holiday gatherings. People with or exposed to COVID-19. So this would come to, well, yeah, if you're diagnosed, if you have symptoms such as a fever, a cough, difficulty breathing, if you're waiting, like if you've gotten a test and you're waiting for the results of that test, may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19, as long as you've been sheltering in place, you don't have as much of a risk, but anybody that you live with that goes out and other people might be exposed is something that we need to be concerned with. And also is at an increased risk of severe illness from COVID-19. So there are people that if you have certain ailments, then you might be at more risk. Like if you have asthma or difficulty breathing already, that can exacerbate that illness. And so it's best to avoid large crowds and avoid having people, like a bunch of people, come over and celebrate with those that you live with. Do not host or attend gatherings with anyone who has COVID-19, has been exposed to someone with COVID-19 in the last 14 days. And people at increased risk for severe illness. If you're an older adult person with a certain medical condition who has an increased risk of COVID-19, like I said, there's a lot of pages. You have an increased risk of severe illness. You should avoid in-person gatherings with people who do not live in your household. And considerations for hosting or attending a gathering. So the first thing is check the COVID-19 infection rates in areas where attendees live. So wherever you are, it's good to check just to see what is going on. And honestly, we're all in the purple, which is unfortunately the worst place to be. Limit the number of people going to your gathering. Host outdoor rather than indoor gatherings. Increase mental ventilation by opening windows and doors to the extent that is safe. If you are having a gathering that is indoors, then open up the windows, get some airflow in there, and it will help. And this is all according to the CDC. So if setting up outdoor seating with pop-up or air tent, which a lot of people have been doing because they feel it's outside, but at the same time you want to open up ventilation for those structures. Require guests to wear masks. Encourage guests to avoid singing or shouting, especially indoors. Encourage attendees to wash their hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And on top of that, what I would say is to have everything that you could possibly have on hand so that people can wash their hands very well. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Provide guests information about any COVID-19 safety guidelines. Provide and encourage attendees to bring supplies to help everybody to stay healthy. Limit contact with commonly touched surfaces or shared items. And use touchless garbage cans if available. Plan ahead and ask guests to avoid contact with people outside of their households for 14 days, so 2 weeks before a gathering, and to make sure that everyone's safe. The more of these preventions, the more it helps. And so the next part is food and drinks at small holiday gatherings. And small, but people want to eat and they want to be happy. But encourage your guests to bring food and drinks for themselves and for family members of their own household only. So if for some reason you do invite somebody over and their family, and you're taking all the necessary risks, all the necessary precautions necessary, have people bring their own food and eat that food. It's difficult to not share, but at the same time, right now, it's very important. Wear a mask while preparing food or serving food for others, if that's what we do. And have everybody have a plan to wear a mask while eating and drinking. Just where to store their mask while eating or drinking, because you have to take it off in order to eat. Have one person who is wearing a mask serve all the food so that multiple people are not handling the serving utensils. Use single-use options or identify one person to serve shareable items. And then, of course, make sure everybody's washing their hands before eating and then after eating. And then designate a space for guests to wash hands after handling food or eating food. Again, it's up to us if we are going to be as safe as possible. Limit crowding, so not too many people right in the same space. Change and launder linen items. So if you have a covering on your table or anything like that you're going to eat with, then you want to limit that. Wash dishes in the dishwasher or with soapy water immediately following the gathering. So make sure that we all just kind of take care of everything going there. And for travel and overnight stays, well, we've got a whole bunch on that. If you are going to leave your house, travel. I think the most important part is that travel may increase your exposure to COVID and also other people's exposure to COVID. Because you could be asymptomatic, which again just means that you might have it, not be exhibiting any symptoms, and still have it, and then go and join a bunch of people, and then they could all get it. So we want to make sure that we limit travel and overnight stays. Let's see. Well, I think the easy answer is to avoid travel. Because when it comes to travel, there's a lot of things that we don't think of, and we could affect somebody. And again, 14 days of quarantine is what we need before we go travel anywhere, and then have a test and try to test, hopefully negative, and then you can feel a little bit safer. But still, it's something that we all need to be cognizant or aware of. But if you do travel, wear a mask, avoid close contact. Right, again, like I said, I've gone over this a couple of times, but wash your hands. It's very important because people touch their face, and the virus is honestly, it usually comes in through here, through breathing, and then somebody gets it, and then they touch their face, and that's why masks are very important. And wash your hands. Well, sorry, avoid contact with anyone who is sick. And then avoid touching your face, mask, eyes, nose, and mouth. It's a lot that we have to do. But if you're planning on staying home, which is the best thing, then I think you're going to do well. So travel can increase the chance of spreading the virus of COVID-19. Staying home is the best way to protect yourself and others. So traveling right now is not the best thing. I know we all want to get out, but it's not the best thing. Considering for staying overnight or hosting overnight guests, consider whether you, someone you live with, or anyone you plan to visit is at an increased risk for severe illness from COVID-19. And that means different things. It could just mean certain health issues that the person has, but it also could mean people who could be active spreaders, like college students and things like that, that are just traveling around and have been in dorms and things like that. There's a chance, and there's a good chance that they're more of an active spreader. And so consider that before you ask people over for holiday meals. And this, unfortunately, is probably going to go on for a while. So, it's good to keep all of these things in mind before you ask people to come over. And we all want people to come over. I want to visit a lot of people. But at the same time, I don't want to get anybody sick, and I don't want anyone to get me sick with this, because it's lonely and hospitals are overrun. And I think we've gone over pretty much everything. But again, when it comes to the holidays, we need to make sure that we stay as safe as possible. And the best way to do that is stay home. And then if we are going to invite people over, know that they might need to be there for 14 days if for some reason they're an active spreader. And let them know that it's okay for them to stay, but they could also get you sick. So I just want to make sure that we're all safe. And this is a different world that we're living in right now. And we want this to get better. Everybody wants this to get better sooner than later. I'm sorry this went a little long, but at the same time, it's all good information. And check your CDC websites for updates, and you can check a lot of California websites specifically for our area in order to stay in contact. But I miss you, and I wish you all the best of holidays and the happiest of holidays. And I hope to see you in person sooner than later. And hopefully a vaccine will be available and we'll be able to take it and get back together. Alright, yeah. Bye. Miss you.